we can address it. Why am I orange? Maybe hold on. Right. I said we can do this live, but I probably should have done it. I probably should have done it before we started recording. But I'm gonna put a different filter on my light. Maybe that'll fix it. There we go. Oh, that's bright. That is bright. Here we go. Is that going to change anything? Oh, much better. There we go. Yeah. Nice. We're back. Now I look pale. Hello. We're back again. Hello, Christian. Hello, my friend. Nathan, back again as I'm pale for some reason, but it is what it is. How are you, mate? Because it's been a shambles to start, basically.
Yeah, look, when I'm here, it seems all the problems happen, don't they? But I'm back.
Yeah, last week, smooth. Really smooth. Really good.
But we're back. I'm back. And
unfortunately. Enjoyed Terry
unfortunately.
Last week. I enjoyed Terry last week.
Yeah, I'll remember that. Look, the week you're sick, oh, mate, this show will go for 20 minutes because I'll get a guest that learns to talk 30-second intervals.
All right, no, that's fine. And then watch the views tank. No, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care. All right. Well, how was your weekend? How was your weekend, my friend? Because I haven't heard about what your weekend was like, and we will, of course, it includes the club that shall not be named. But apart from that, as well as including that, how was your weekend? Long weekend as well.
Yeah, look, up and down, some good, some bad. Good yesterday. My first Anzac Day in person, so pretty cool experience. So, I would say above the 50% mark in terms of good and bad, just above.
Well, I'm glad you had a great weekend I'm glad you had a 50% above weekend because I'm off them. I'm just so off them. I can't be bothered. And if you want wisdom, that's my wisdom. I'm off them. So everyone else should be because normally you're the pessimistic one and I'm the whole optimistic one. But after Terry and I gave some really bold predictions last week and it didn't really work, did it? If you watch, I don't know.
Can we talk? I watched a bit. You sort of had a go at me right at the start.
A bit.
I watched a bit. You do understand I did have other things on, so with
but you've had a week to catch up. Come on.
A week to catch up on the last week of footy. We've moved on now.
No, that's right. Yeah, no worries. That's fine. I'll remember that next time.
Yeah. Speaking of bold calls, can we talk about our tips? Quickly, let's start with our tips.
Should we? No, that's not how this show goes.
Just a recap of last week's tips. I'd love to know how we went.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Okay, well, I'll
do it.
You yourself, yep. a really astonishing 4 out of 9.
Yep.
Terrific. Myself, 8 out of 9. My best week of tipping yet.
Congrats.
And that brings a total so far. I'm on 31, you're on 24, so you just can't make good calls.
No, see, I'll tell you what it is, and I brought this up last week. I'm naturally an entertainer, right? Obviously.
Yes.
Naturally. And I like to entertain because of my shit tips. That's what it is. If I tipped seriously, this would be very boring because we'd agree because we're both smart about football. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that clears it up. I'll remember that. So it's simply just your entertainer side that's.
Do you want me to tip seriously? I'll tip seriously.
Tip seriously this week. All right.
I'll tip seriously.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, we'll leave that to the end of the show. That's right. Just stuff up the running order. That's all good. It's not like I do it anyway. All right, let's kick things off. Let's start this. We've got a lot of things to cover. We have a lot to cover. And knowing us, we're probably going to be here for 4 hours. So put the kettle on if you're watching at home. We're going to be touching on some sling tackles and not really MRO chat, but it's been a hot topic, so I'll touch on that. No Thursday night footy. This is just something that I want to touch on briefly. Tassie, from all of a sudden, they're here. They've arrived. We're touching on the Pies, touching on the Crows, our biggest takeaway from the weekend, and then we'll finish up, as we always do, with the preview for the next round. Let's kick things off. Without further ado, sling tackles. What's going on? Because I'm as confused as anyone. I don't know if you have any kind of original points on this, but is tackling outlawed? Because it seems like it is. It seems like we just can't tackle anymore. Which, I think it might just hinder the game a little bit personally.
Yeah, well, it's such like it's always going to be a grey area because they're never going to take into account heights and size and all of that. They're only ever going to look at the action, which I don't know how I feel about it because half of me is like I just want consistency, and I'm guessing you're sort of referring to Motlop on the weekend.
Well, yeah, well he was the one-sided, yeah, for it.
Yeah, I'm happy for that to get called 1 week, as long as you just keep some consistency. Like, don't, can't pick and choose where you call a week off and all of that. But yeah, I'm not sure how I see it because you got to protect safety, but also it's a fundamental of the game. Like, it's quite funny to think that a fundamental of the game can easily get you punished. Not easily, but not hard at the same time. But that's probably where I sit. I'm always sort of undecided about it. I never know if I agree with the way they, give suspensions out for it, or if they don't. But that's how I sit with it.
Before we go, Mr. Lachlan, thank you very much for the $1. Appreciate that. But look, and I think this point here, which is actually funny enough, I was going to segue to this, but when you look at what other things aren't getting suspended, what things aren't, or what other incidents aren't getting suspended, like Cordwell was punch Dacos in the solar plexus, right? That is a week. That has to be. You can't just whack someone and like in a very sensitive area, like if you've been hit in the center of your chest, like just below your ribs, it hurts a lot. It wings you and it hurts a lot. That should be. And then when you're looking at the Motlop tackle, which is when you're looking at the Motlop tackle, it's obviously going to be the one that's obviously put into the spotlight a little bit more because he was cited and suspended and Carlton didn't challenge it, right? Which almost goes as far as to say that they've conceded the week. They've conceded that action is now a suspension. And I would bring it up, but we get copyright striked because the AFL don't like people reposting their content. I'll tell you that for free. But we all know what tackle we're referring to, right? When that one annoys me. That one annoys me a lot for 2 reasons. Firstly, no contact with the ground, with the head from Dougal Howard. Didn't hit his head on the ground, right? So when we're looking at outcome, if you're looking at from an outcome perspective, there's no outcome. It was a tackle, perfectly fine tackle, right? And then when you look at that, so that factor, there was no contact, and also Dougal Howard is double the size of Jesse Motlop. I don't think I'm being I don't think I'm being hyperbole in saying that. He's double the size of Jesse Motlop. In order for Jesse Motlop to lay an effective, efficient tackle, he has to grab a player double his size and use gravity to help him. He can't pick him up off the ground. He doesn't have the strength for that, right? And he can't move him sideways because what does that do? In order to fully stifle a player double his size, he has to take him to the ground. Like I don't get how we can now punish that. Like do you think it's a kind of an issue almost with the bump to a certain extent and some other issues that we've got in the past? Do you think this is going to be an issue for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, and then it's just going to go away and we're going to be fine? Or do you think that this action is now going to be completely outlawed and it's going to be fully strict? It's going to be strictly interpreted from here on in because we know the MRO have the consistency of a 3-year-old child, right? I don't know in what context, but yeah, like there's no consistency.
I reckon if we go back a year to one of our shows, we were probably talking about the exact same thing.
Well,
and I reckon if we go ahead 1 year, we'll also be talking about the exact same thing. I don't know what they'll do with it necessarily. Like, it's just so inconsistent. Like, what? This is why we don't. This is actually why we, as we said, why we don't talk about it because it's
it's a shit talking point. It's a shit talking point. It sucks. It sucks. Hence why we're not doing MRO chat anymore unless someone's belted someone in the head. We're not doing Liam Ryan's been suspended for 1 week for a bump, right? We're not doing that anymore. This is why it's a shit talking point because it's like, what's the answer? The answer should be you can't sling, but the interpretation of what is a sling tackle is broken because it's not a sling tackle. It's just
It's
an
just-
effective tackle.
It's just I feel like there's never like the intent is never taken into it. Like hence what the intent of Jesse Motlop there was not to tackle him to the ground to smash his head into it.
Yeah.
Like that is probably the main factor. If he hits his head, fair enough. And it's not because Motlop intended it to do that, but it's just how the tackle went down. It was a bad tackle from him. You probably got to just cop the consequences that come along with it. But then we look at Caldwell and Dacos. He's gut punched him. Like what? Like
it's a week. Every day of the week.
That's not in that's not part of the game.
Yeah,
like, yes, it is, but like
it's not though because it's not like they weren't jumper punching. It wasn't like a melee. It wasn't in a tackle.
The jumper punching part of it is, but like that itself, that's not part of the game, right? So that's just why it's frustrating. That's why we sit here and complain because like. You look at the incidents. It's like one had no intent for harm. The other, was the sole purpose was to hurt him.
Harm. Yeah, and not only that, Motlops is a football action. It's a tackle. Yeah. So if I was just to describe to you these two scenarios, and I really wish we could show them, but we can't. Like that annoys me because I really do want to show them. But you have in Motlop's case, you have a footballing action with no intent to hurt, and the outcome was no impact, like no injury, no like pain, any substantial pain anyway. That's one incident. That gets a week. Then you have a non-footballing action with the intent to hurt that did hurt, and that's a fine. Surely, forget about what the action was. Surely, if I just told you those 2 points, it's cut and dry. It's the MRO is broken. The MRO is broken, flat out. Because, like, I also agree with this as well, and I think this kind of puts on the same point: is the inconsistency. Because it's now it's not only inconsistency with different actions; it's inconsistency with the same actions. Because what was it? Rowan got 1, Day got 2. Yes, that was in the Easter Monday. You're looking at me blankly, so I assume you don't know. But
there's been so many. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Remembered some of them.
Oh, because they were like the first ones, right? I'm pretty sure anyway.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah.
And then you had and then you had Merritt and Collingwood bloke Adams. Merritt and Adams both got a week. And like I agree with this one as well. I agree. But I agree on a caveat. And the reason the caveat is because under the interpretation, it's a sling. Under the interpretation, it is a Motlop grabs him, completes the first tackle, then plants his feet and swings him over. I get that. That's a sling. I get it. But what else is he meant to do? What else is he meant to do? And we go back to my example before, my justification before. No intent to hurt, no injury occurred, football action. How can you suspend that?
It's funny, yeah. We're just comparing it to everything else in general. It just looks silly. Like it really does. Think, like it's a silly thing to suspend. But like I said, stay consistent. I don't care. I'd frankly take consistency over the action itself being punished. Right?
Really? Would you?
We wouldn't be sitting here talking about it if it was consistent.
Yeah, good point. I guess
that's probably why I would allow it to an extent, but we're not getting that, are we? So.
But we are absolutely not. And I can guarantee you for fact we're going to be sitting here in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. We're going to be speaking about another football action that's going to be removed from the game, and we're going to be sitting here this time next year and be talking about the sling tackle again and the bump again because anyways we're going around in circles as we probably always do with this point. Let's move on to a little bit more of a jovial point and just something that it was talked about last week. Probably should have mentioned it last week actually, but I forgot, so poor me, and you weren't here to remind me, so maybe if you did chart for once you may have been able to remind me. So anyway, that's your fault. But no Thursday night footy. No Thursday night footy. Now, you know my thoughts. I know my thoughts. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on just on two things. On no Thursday night footy flat out, as in like whether Thursday night footy should be a thing or not, just in general, and then also the 5 weeks where we have Thursday night footy, then the 12 weeks without Thursday night footy, and then the 7 weeks with Thursday night footy at the end of the season.
Well, I don't like it. Like I've never loved Thursday night. Quickly on the second point, if you're going to have Thursdays, keep it the whole year. That's just that's my point on that. If you can have it, right?
Even round one, or is round one exception because it starts season, etc.
No, I'm saying if you're going to have Thursday. Oh yes, as in if I did have Thursday. Look, I've never liked going to Thursday night footy purely because it's like you have to. Well, exactly, you got to get up the next day, and I mean we don't have 9 to 5 jobs, but I can imagine people who do probably don't love it as much.
Even if you have school, or even if you have uni on a Friday,
it's not the best, especially if it's at Marvel. Oh my, that's just
well, that's bias from you.
That is bias from me.
I like Marvel, but different point.
Anyways, but I don't know. It's like when you get to the first game of the round, it just signifies end of the week. Like your brain just tells you it's the end of the week.
Thank you.
It's not the end of the week though.
Exactly. And so, as you could probably tell, I'm hard anti Thursday night footy, right? I don't like it, right? I just don't, right? Yeah. And for a couple of reasons. Firstly, what you said about the game finishes, and if it's a night game, you check your phone and it's 10:30, 11 o'clock, and the game's just finished. You're expecting to have the day off the next day, right? Whether that be because it's a public holiday like Anzac Day Eve, or whether it's because it's a Friday or Saturday night, right? You know what I mean by when I say that.
Yes,
when you look at your phone, it's 11 o'clock at night, it's a Thursday, and you're stuck in the city in a car park and you can't get out, and you're tired because your team's just been smacked by 100 points. It's shit. It sucks, right? The crowd numbers, I don't know what they are, but I can't imagine they will be consistent for the whole season, because we saw Carlton Geelong. That was on a Thursday night. If that happens on a Friday night, there was 66,000 on a Thursday. If that happens on a Friday night, there's at least 70, 75, because no one's making the trip down the highway. No one's making the trip down the highway to having to go back and get home at 1:30 in the morning and then have to wake up and then go to your job at 8:30, 9 o'clock. No one's doing that, right? It's unreasonable. And like you said, the end of the start of the footy signifies the weekend. It signifies, all right, everything, forget what happened in the week, forget all issues, worries, whatever. Footy's on, let's get pissed, let's enjoy the weekend, basically, right? That's what it means.
Yeah.
So having Thursday night footy where you have work or uni or whatever the next day, I don't like it. And I think we basically agree on the same point. Yeah. But I've also got, and I said I've got some notes. And the reason why I've got some notes is because I've got my ideal fixture. If I could picture a fixture list, this is what I would do. Right? And I agree. It's another game on free to wear, but my fixture will fix this point. Right? Bear with me. So Friday kicks it off. Friday 7:20, crucially 7:20. Right? 7:20, crucially. Yeah. Yes. Then we go Saturday 1:45. That's Fox Footy, right?
I love that time slot. I love Saturday 1:45, especially on a sunny winter afternoon. Sorry, that's the way.
Yeah.
It is very good.
Saturday 2:10, free to wear.
But Saturday, is it live or is it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we're not doing Better Homes and Gardens. No, we're not doing Better Homes and Gardens, and we're not doing Farmer Wants a Wife. We're not doing all that stuff. Live, free to wear TV, right?
Yeah.
2:10, 4:30, Fox Footy. 7 o'clock, Fox Footy, and then 7:40, free to wear. So I've got 5 games on the Saturday, 2 of them free to wear. Then Sunday pretty much stays the same. 1:10 on Fox, 3:20, 3:30, 3:40, take your pick on free to wear, and then 4:40 to end the round on Fox. We're not doing any of this Sunday 7:40. None of that. Rubbish.
No, see, the only thing I've changed about that is Sunday 4:10 even.
Okay, that works. Yeah. 4:10 works as well. Yeah, 4:10 works.
4:40 sucks as well.
Yeah, Sunday footy sucks. Sunday when it's dark sucks.
That's true.
Yeah, Sunday when it's not light out sucks. That shit. But yes, that's what I would have. Any changes, or do you agree for the most part?
No, I agree. I think we think very similar.
Yeah, that's why this show works. That's why this show works.
No, I do like it. It never happened because Channel 7 might put 2 free-to-air live on the same day.
Well, Channel 7...
You'd only ever get what you got like 10 years ago where they'd have it
delayed.
It would start at 1:45 and it'd start at 3 o'clock. So it's an hour and whatever behind. So
yeah, but Channel 7 might not, because obviously Better Homes and Gardens takes priority, naturally, right? But would Channel 9, or heaven forbid, Channel 10, would they?
God, if Channel 10 got the football back, nah.
Would you be in favour of that? Would you be in favour of that?
God. Life would be... That was peak. Look, we were like, what? You were 5, I was 6 when like Channel 10 was peak. Like 09, 10, 11. Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, I can't remember. Personally, I'm a big... I like 7, personally, because I think I have the nostalgia of sitting down on a Saturday. Like, that's my first real free-to-air footy experience, is like...
Yes.
It is sitting down on a Saturday or a Friday night with a pizza, watching the full coverage from 7 till 11:30 or whenever it finishes, with Bruce and Richo and all these people, right? That's my experience. That's my nostalgia, right? But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed going back to Channel 10, or just have all games on free to air.
Well,
that works.
That does work. I'm a big scoreboard person, actually.
Great segue. Yes, lovely. Yeah, I know exactly.
Because I don't even know what the next topic is, but
it's not important. This is far more important. Yeah.
Scoreboard wise, Channel 7 from 2008 to 11, that scoreboard where it, like the number sort of like flashed as it was a goal. Terrific.
So
Channel
was
10
that
scoreboard, 5-minute warning. Oh my God.
Okay. Controversial. Not a fan of 5-minute warning.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
There's nothing like absolutely feeling like your heart's about to just explode inside you.
You like that feeling, do you? You like that feeling?
Oh, it's intense.
You like to feel anxiety, do you? I don't.
Not during Carlton, but neutral game. I mean,
yeah, but if I don't want to know how long's left, I'll just go to the game.
Well, that's true. I mean, I like going to the game more anyway, but I'm just saying, I don't know. Yeah. Well, actually, this is going everywhere, isn't it? You know what I hate about being at the game is when they put the 5-minute thing on the scoreboard. Oh, sorry, the
I don't know.
The LED lights. I hate it.
I don't mind the 5-minute. I don't mind the 5-minute. I like 5 because 5 is like, it takes a while. 5 minutes is a long time, especially late on in games.
It is, but it's like it's unavoidable. Like you literally can't miss it though because it's everywhere. Yeah, that's what I hate about it. It's like,
well, they used to have the security guards come out. I don't know if they still do.
But you sort of never knew because that sometimes they'd come out with like 2 minutes and then sometimes they come out with 8 minutes and it's like they picked and choose depending on which group of fans it was, I'm guessing. But
I wonder which group of fans. But yeah, still. Okay. Just going back on the scoreboard chat because I feel like that's important. Channels. So which one are you talking about? You're talking about the one in the top left, like the square. Is that the one you're speaking about?
Channel 7's bottom left, isn't it? That was bottom left or bottom right. Channel 10's in the top left. I think
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Right. Yeah, Channel 10's top left.
Yeah, I'm like I said, this goes back to my bias before, but the Channel 7 2012, 2013, just bottom left, red, like the black school. With the black with the name and then the red with the score, and that works. Another gripe? I hate the badges. Just put the name of the team. I hate on the scoreboard how they got the badges, and you can't even like it's a shit badge anyway. It's not like the proper badge. Yeah. Just put the name. Put Carlton versus Richmond. Full name. Carlton, not Richmond Tigers. Crucially, not Richmond Tigers. Just Richmond and just Carlton. That's what I'll do.
That's all you need. Yeah, no, I agree.
Fantastic stuff. So we do think the same. This is why the show's great.
There we go.
This would. this would give me I would have a heart attack in the first game that this happened. If we could like see the clock sporadically, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm sorry. Because you can't even see the count up. So it's like it just flashes up 23 minutes gone and then you don't see the clock for another 12 minutes and you don't know where the game's in. I couldn't do that. Anyways. Yeah, that's what I get that's why it's good. But for my like mental being, I couldn't do that during a Carlton game. Through a neutral game, that'd be fine. But I struggle at times, even at the games. I need to know how long's left. I really do, because I can't do it. Anyways, let's move on. And we're not actually going to speak about footy yet because we got sidetracked. Also, yeah, finishing up. Did you have any more final thoughts on this or not?
Nothing on it.
Yeah, right, sweet, fantastic stuff. Let's move on. And so this is a narrative or a storyline that's come out really in the last couple of hours, predominantly even today. The federal government have pulled, was it 400 million out of seemingly nowhere to and this is not a politics show, so I'll leave it at that. But they've pulled a lot of money out of I don't know where to fund I think it's a multi-purpose stadium, which I don't exactly know what that means, but
like concerts as well. And
that's everything. yeah. I can't wait for Ed Sheeran to go to Tassie. Jesus. Yeah,
you'd still travel for him. That's the funny thing. You would go to it.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I didn't even choose to go when he came to Melbourne. Honestly, I didn't. Anyway,
they get concerts.
Yeah, so they get concerts. Probably like I don't know, probably like 1-4 or something. Anyway, they've pulled a lot of money out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, a stadium is being built, which is probably going to be built as long as it gets the green light, which I assume it does. Hence why I put that in the graphic. Meaning two things, right? Meaning two things, right? It means there's probably going to be a Tassie team. I'd be shocked if there wasn't. And it also means Nathan got his prediction wrong pre-season. His bold call wrong, which I was borderline not even going to accept it as a bold call because I thought it was so far-fetched away from actually happening. But yeah, just quick thoughts on that. Quick response and apology maybe.
What am I apologising for? Hold on.
For not trusting the Victorian government, for the federal government. That's why.
You said this isn't politics. This had nothing to do with this call had nothing to do with politics. What are you on about? I just didn't think it would happen, but I don't know. It's fair play, Tassie. It's not confirmed. When it's confirmed, it's wrong when it's been actually announced. We've just heard that it will happen, so it technically isn't wrong yet. But it will be eventually, you assume. But
yeah, right. So you're just delaying the inevitable.
Pretty much.
Right. Okay. Anyways, this basically means that. Well, actually, your exact quote and your exact big call was there won't be a Tassie team announced in 2023, and that probably won't happen.
You never know. Well.
I'd be shocked if it did. I'd be shocked if the team was announced, like, bang, 19th team in Tassie announced this year. I would be surprised. But if they're building a stadium, I'd be shocked if there wasn't one, right?
Well, I'm not... Let's say they do announce it this year. I doubt it will start until at least... Usually when they announce a team, it comes in, 2 years later? 2-3 years later?
More. 4.
But even so, I mean... It's interesting because do you bring them in before the stadium's done and just let them play out of, UTAS and Blundstone for the first year? Or do you wait and say, well, you're literally not coming in till the stadium's done?
I think it'd be the latter. I think it'd have to be. It'd have to be. Because what's the point of the thing, right? What's the point?
How funny would it be if, they just don't get crowds, though? Because I just was thinking about it today, though,
Well,
how many Tasmanians would have a team already? Is it that easy to just switch team, even if it's your home?
Yeah, I get, and also Sicily's comments as well today were hilarious, and also considering Hawthorn sponsor the club. I mean, Tasmania sponsor the club is even funnier. But yeah, do you think? Yeah, what's I don't know. I don't know. Would you find if you lived in Tassie, would you change? If everything in your life was the exact same, but you were based in Tasmania, would you change?
I think of it this way: if my suburb got a football team, would I follow? Probably
Nah,
not.
it's different. It's different. Like
Yeah, I guess it is a bit
if
different.
Doncaster Sharks got put into the AFL, I couldn't care. I don't care.
Yeah. Look, there'd probably be a strong push to change. I feel like it would. I reckon it would be very 50-50. I don't think everyone would just say, okay, we're cool, we're ready. Considering the AFL hasn't cared about him, it'd be quite funny for the fans to just sort of like give it back to them and say, okay, we don't care. Like, you didn't care about us. Why should we care about?
Yeah.
I don't know. A little bit. It's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, there's obviously the talk of it being a 19th team, which is probably the more likely
Honestly.
the more likely scenario. What if X club was relocated? It'd be the first relocation since Fitzroy, I think. Yes.
Just get rid of the Giants. I like.
Okay.
No, seriously.
Scathing. No, don't worry about
Get rid
it.
of-
Good.
Because who Gold Coast, look, you could say them as well, but it's a nice stadium. People like going to the Gold Coast to watch footy. No one likes going to the showgrounds to watch footy. They literally, I don't, someone showed me, they were doing the horses, like the equestrian stuff on the ground.
Equestrian.
I don't know if it's a question, but the horses and stuff on the ground. Like, what is this stadium? Could you imagine if they were doing equestrian stuff on the MCG? They'd genuinely be outraged.
Isn't equestrian the one with the water?
I don't know. Look,
You
point
brought it up. I don't know.
Yeah, point is they're doing some horse event, whatever. Quite odd.
The trot.
Just a crap ground. No one enjoys going there.
So you say Giants?
I'd say Giants. Yeah, I mean.
So you wouldn't say North?
No, as much as I don't know, North have a stronger culture than. Well, think about it. How many North fans do you get? What if you got rid of North? Substantial amount of fans compared to GWS.
Yeah, but would that not also help the fans for the new team?
Oh, not at all. You think people will just
Yeah. Look at how big of a contingent Sydney still have in Melbourne. Like I know Sydney supporters because their dad was South Melbourne and they changed.
Yeah.
And they didn't change. And even Brisbane as well with Fitzroy. It would still be there. Yeah. It would definitely still be there.
Yeah, I don't know.
And also it would help the interstate travel of the team because obviously Tassie would come to Melbourne more than anyone else, or more than any other interstate, or more than any other state, if I could speak. So obviously that will help with them, not being what the Giants and the Gold Coast have been with 14-year-olds pretending to care about the Giants just for some TikTok likes.
It's weird because we haven't experienced it. If anyone in the comments was alive during that, split, tell us what it was like. Just because,
if anyone knows any Sydney supporters who stayed from South, or obviously Fitzroy and Brisbane the same, or if they switched, that'd be quite interesting. I'll tell you what it'd be. It'd be a very interesting poll. If I'm pretty sure it's probably would have been done at some stage, but if they're going to relocate another team, it would be interesting if they did a poll to all Sydney players, or to all Sydney players, to all Sydney fans and Brisbane Lions fans, that about whether or not they changed from South Melbourne or if they did change, etc., etc. So but if you had to pick, would it, because obviously it's been brought up as well, with a 19 team, firstly two things. Firstly, the talent pool, could that be an issue? And also, I feel like this kind of also adds a point that I was going to make. 19 teams, that means a team has a bye every round. You probably have to add another team. Of course, there was that thing about Glenelg, I think, potentially joining Norwood, one of the South Australian teams. Is it a relocation to keep it an 18-team comp, or add Tassie and then quickly add a 20th team like they did with the Giants when the Gold Coast came?
I would hate to see anyone in 18 teams. I agree with the talent pool thing. There really isn't enough talent to go around. And based off what I've seen this year, just like in general, getting to see more than just like the top 20. There's good players after the top 20, right? But even when we go back, 10, 15 years, how many in the last 40 picks actually become something?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
There's really not, there's talent every year, but obviously not every one of those 60 picks each year plays at all, literally plays at all. So I'd hate it. I would hate it.
Yeah, well, there'd also be compromised drafts. Especially if you had two teams. If you had two teams, there's going to be 10 years of compromised drafts, right?
But even we saw it with the AFLW, though, when Sydney, Hawthorn, Port Essendon came in last season, they got like each of them got 3 or 4 first round picks, and you had teams. Like I use Carlton for example because I watched them a lot. They finished third last, and their first pick was like pick 17 or 18.
Yeah, it compromises the draft and it compromises the competition. The competition for sure.
It would be because your 17th pick will not be as near as they'd be talented, but they will not be near as good as your top 5. So
yeah, no, definitely not.
It would hurt. It would hurt quite a lot. I don't want to see a relocation, but I would probably prefer that over 19 or 20 teams. It would just.
I don't want to say 19 teams because it's an odd number and a team having a bye would be disgusting. Yeah. We did that for a year and it was shit. So let's not do that again. I would tend to agree, but a relocation, as much as the empathetic side of me would feel for the team supporters a lot, like it would, right? Because knock on wood, it's probably not Carlton. I'd be shocked if it was. I'd be shocked. I don't think we're going to be in this position. So it would be slightly sad to see, but the Schadenfreude side of me, and it'd be quite funny, wouldn't it? Just for like a 1%, it would be like, oh, this is kind of funny to watch play out.
Well, I don't know what to think of it. It's just my whole thing with Giants as well. Like it just wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, if you had to relocate a team, as the question has come in, if you had to relocate a team, would it be the Giants?
Yes, but I would just get rid of Giants and just disband the whole thing.
Why do you hate them so much? What have they done to you?
Because what do they bring to? No, I don't want to sprint A-League into this, but they are the Western United of the AFL. Like, what is their identity? Well, they have one, though. They've won a championship, right? But what's their identity? It's like, oh, we're the West of Sydney. Well, no one watches you in the West of Sydney. No one goes to your games. Like, it just doesn't. I just don't understand the purpose of their team. Like,
right, okay. So you hate a football club for no reason. That's good. It's good to know. I would relocate them. So, but there is no chance the AFL will relocate the Giants. Based off, there's fuck all chance. Absolutely zero chance, right? How much money they've poured into that club. Poor Gold Coast, right? They've been starved of anything in comparison, right? If anyone's going to go, it's North or Gold Coast. They're the two. But also, sorry, just quickly, it goes back to the talent pool thing and also what Sicily said, which is quite funny. It's the same argument that people have about a potential Northern Territory team. Who's going to want to go? With all due respect, if a team, I'd be shocked, right? I'd be really surprised if you have, I don't know who's out of contract. Harry Himmelberg's out of contract, right? Let's just say the team's being brought in next year. Harry Himmelberg's out of contract. He's going to want to relocate. If he's been given $400K a year by Richmond over 3 years, he's more likely to go to there than if he's offered $700K by Tassie for 3 years. I genuinely think that. Genuinely.
I'm not sure. I'm not actually too sure on that.
Even if the Tassie team is a relocation and it's North but just in Tassie, I would still think that he would rather go to Melbourne. You're not going to get people to relocate. Like, honestly, in my genuine opinion, I don't think he will.
I do want to bring up this point, though, of a bit of basketball talk. The Jack Jumpers, which is the new Tassie team that was brought in. They've been in for 2 seasons now. I don't know how much you know about them. but they made the grand final in their first year. They sell out every single home game. To be fair, they've got a pretty small stadium. I don't think it holds any more than about 7 or 8K. Terrific turnout. Players want to go there. There hasn't been an issue. And NBL's nationwide. They've got, Cairns, so that's, far north Queensland, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Illawarra, etc., etc. But there hasn't been a problem with that. So I don't like.
Is it because of a lack of other options? Because, like you said, if Tassie is competing with Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Gold Coast, Brisbane, the major cities in the country in AFL, but in basketball, they're competing with Illawarra and Cairns. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the same.
You've got your Melbournes.
Yeah,
Sydney's,
of course,
Perth, Adelaide.
yes. Of course.
I think, and just based off this Jack Jumpers team, they built such a good culture that honestly, I think that is enough to draw the players. And basketball, to be fair, is probably a couple months shorter than AFL.
Yeah.
And they do move. They don't stay the whole year. They'll go and play European, Asian basketball whenever afterwards. But I don't know. It will be tough because they'll obviously just be where Gold Coast and Giants were in their first year, unless they build like a decent list out of nowhere, which is hard to think. But that's the only way they'll do it if they relocate, where they'll have a foundation. I don't think it'll happen.
Well, I think this will be the best. I think obviously we saw this. The Suns were a shambles. Giants were not great, but still okay. Especially like they got good quicker. And they got good quicker than what the Suns got good. Some unreal vocabulary from me there. And then I think if this Tassie team was a new team, I think they'd be the best team quicker than the other two. Because I think it's just learning from mistakes, right? I mean, Charlie Dixon did an interview with Will Schofield, and he spoke about the Suns, kind of how things were going when they first started up. Like it was a rabble, like it was a shambles, and it won't be replicated. It won't be replicated. It can't. It's untenable for the league. So there you go. That's a little bit of a kind of detour, as we've done twice so far. We've got 3 more talking points to go, and we've got 20 minutes. So I told you, I'll put the kettle on. Let's move on. Let's actually speak about actual football for once on this show. It's been 40 minutes, and we're going to speak about actual football. Collingwood. Let's speak about the Pies. And when I say let's speak about the Pies, I mean, Nathan, speak about the Pies. Because you were the one who put this on the run sheet, so I'm not saying anything.
Look, I just wasn't that... It was a poor game from Collingwood, just generally. Like, their fundamentals were pretty poor. Their skills in general were poor, right? You're going to have those games. But we've seen with Brisbane now, we've seen with Essendon, their game plan just, like, there is no plan B when teams will actually defend the players out the back. Like their ball movement just doesn't do it. It stops. It stops after the halfway, and Essendon did it very, very well. You can't stop Collingwood's comebacks, right? Like we've learned.
It was inevitable. Oh yeah,
it was inevitable, right?
Absolutely. I'm not a betting man, despite conscious popular belief. If I was, I would have put the house on Collingwood to win at 3/4 time, right? Just quietly. But yeah, go.
Yeah, that's Collingwood's strength, right? They know how to do that well. But I've just not seen any difference from even it was still the last year's team. They just don't really know what to do when their running game just doesn't happen. It stops. Their kicking just becomes a bit off. They overuse with their hands. And that leads to my opinion that I just think that performance is paper over the cracks. I don't think you'll hear from the media all week that it was a poor performance because of that last quarter. That will literally it will be negative on Essendon, even though they were the best team on the day for, I wouldn't say 3/4, nearly 3/4, because Collingwood's second quarter was good, right?
Well, Essendon were better for a bigger portion of the game than what Collingwood were.
Yes.
On the whole, I think that statement, if it was put to people like that, I would agree. Because the second quarter, you say it was good from Collingwood, it was better than the first, but I also think I also think Essendon's third quarter and first quarter combined were better than Collingwood's second and fourth. Because I think the second quarter was the most even quarter, and if you're going to give that to Collingwood, I understand it kind of cancels itself out because the fourth was very good. But yeah, you know what I mean.
I'm not sure if it was just a really poor game on Collingwood's
It
end.
was. Look. I just want to butt in. The game was great spectacle. 95k, second largest home and away crowd. Weather held up. Beautiful Melbourne day. The spectacle of it, superb. The actual football, whilst entertaining, wasn't good. Wasn't good. But like, if Geelong had played that game, or Melbourne had been in the place of one of those teams, I think Melbourne or Geelong or whoever wins that game comfortably if they play at their best.
I'm still I still sit with the opinion that Collingwood's game style will beat, how many teams are there? 18. It will beat 13 to 14 of these 18 teams, but simply against the teams who have pretty elite defensive game plans, it just won't work. It will not hold up.
You say that they're based in Kilda, who are the best defensive team in the comp, probably. And Essendon are far behind.
Yeah. I mean, that is a fair point. They did beat St Kilda. I
get where you're coming from, though. I also think it's experience. Experience sides, obviously, they beat Geelong, but they beat Geelong in the same way that they beat them last year. The game was very similar to their game last year, early on in the season, just Collingwood won. That run over the top in the last quarter, right? And it's this surge football that works so well in this corridor, embracing the imperfections, etc. I don't want to say too much. I really don't, because I think I still think the jury's out. I really do, but not whether or not they're shit or whether or not they're good. It's whether or not they're good or whether or not they're very good. Because I think Collingwood, Collingwood are good. Collingwood are good. Obviously, Collingwood are good. That's a statement that really shouldn't be said, but I feel like to save my ass,
shouldn't be said. Yeah.
Collingwood are good, obviously, right? Yeah, you have to be blind to say that they aren't, right? Collingwood are good, but the conversation goes to whether or not they are the elite of the competition. And we saw last year, their game plans obviously changed from last year, but last year their game plan didn't hold up. I keep reiterating this point. They were 5 goals down to North. Essendon took them to the brink. Every single team took them to the brink. Adelaide took them to the brink over there, right? I know we lost to them, but still, right? They've obviously improved drastically this year, but I also think there are massive flaws in their game. Having no ruckman doesn't help. Having arguably your best midfielder out doesn't help. Having one of your better defenders in Jeremy Howe out doesn't help. I thought Tassie Moore stood up. Nick Dacos performed well, even though we could be speaking about him for ages, right? I still think there is a lot of wait and see. Their one performance this year, which has impressed me, was the Port Adelaide one on a whole, because they played 4 quarters of it. They played 4 quarters of elite footy, unless I'm mistaking it. What they beat Geelong. I can't remember what happened in round 2 with them. That was Port. I can't remember what happened in round 3. I don't know, but
Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane they lost, and then anyways, I can't remember. But the Port Adelaide game 6 out of head, regardless. So yeah, it's one of those things. I said I wasn't going to speak a lot, but there you go. Any final thoughts?
I'll leave it at that. Purely time-wise, we'll move on.
Anyways, I apologize if I stole your thunder there. Got carried away. But that's right. I'll make a fool out of myself. Actually, I say stealing your thunder. This is one of your talking points, and also another one of your talking points, which I really have no horse in the race for this. But go, please. Explain this.
This was coming from a mile away. That game on Sunday, that they were just not going to turn up. I say that, but it would be pretty hypocritical because a lot of Victorian teams also suck outside of Victoria, but I think Adelaide probably have the biggest differential between home games and interstate. It's ridiculous.
Gold Coast suck though.
Gold Coast have always been like that though, whereas Adelaide, it is ridiculous. It is 2 different teams. Yeah. And I said this to you off air. I believe that if Carlton played Adelaide in Melbourne, they would have done what Adelaide did to us in Adelaide.
Well, we saw last year. We played them in Melbourne. We killed them, and then we reverse fixture. They killed us. Right?
And I just don't like, in terms of whether we take them seriously, I don't take a team seriously who's just completely polar opposite.
Well, they won. They won.
They
Yeah,
won. They won, but this is a
and they played in
team
Tassie,
who,
which is notoriously a hard place to go.
but they've been there. They've played a couple. Oh, they were there last year, so it wasn't new. Like I'd say, probably 80% of those players have already. That was their second time. But what a weird that it's a weird team in the sense that it is you actually know what you can expect based off the location.
Similar to Gold Coast.
I'll back them 9 times out of 10 in Adelaide. I will not back them outside of Adelaide realistically unless it's against your Hawthorns. I mean, they didn't even beat the Giants. Is a perfect example.
That game, I think a caveat goes over that game because of the conditions. It was stupid.
But still, like that GWS, like they would belt them at home. That's the thing. They're just so. It's hot and then extremely cold. Yeah,
well, they versus Collingwood at home, and I don't give me your predictions yet, but I'm intrigued to see you predict. Don't spoil it, but that's going to be
I haven't actually thought about my predictions yet. By the way, I haven't done it.
I haven't done mine either. I'm going to do it on the fly, but that's going to be a great game. That is going to be a cracker.
Yes.
That's going to be very good and typical AFL fixturing. 4:40 on a 4:40 on a Sunday afternoon. Unbelievable stuff, really. Just honestly, mate, Gil's done another wonder job there. Unbelievable stuff. Didn't they put in the floating fixture to prevent this from happening? Wasn't that the whole reason?
I'd rather this happen than a complete floating fixture.
I'd rather just give me the fixture from start to finish. Isn't that?
Or give the day you're playing, at least. Because if you're booking flights, you want to know what day you're meant to go.
Yeah.
Because then you have the flexibility to say, or even like just put night, like says night, end for night, and you pick which game goes on free to wear the week before or something like that. So you got 2 games to choose on.
No, because it goes on time. It goes by time slots. So 3:20 on Sunday is always free to wear. So I think the day.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, the 2 Saturday night games, right? One's going to go free to wear, the other isn't. So you just sort of float them as both night games. You might have one game that is just going to be better than the other, and you've chucked on the free to wear. Let's keep talking because we're probably going to just go on another tangent again. So poor fixturing.
Yes.
Final statement on that. Yes.
Well, we've got one talking point left, and we've got 8 minutes. So I'm actually going to quickly give me 7 or Fox for these two. So you got Melbourne, North, Carlton, West Coast.
I know which is which doesn't help. But
fine. Next week. No, move on. Freo versus Hawthorn at Optus, or Giants versus Bulldogs at Monica.
It'll be Giants Bulldogs because it's a rivalry apparently.
Yeah, right. You hate them so much, right? This is interesting. This is gonna be a good one. Lions Bombers at the Gabba, or Carlton Dogs at Marvel?
Oh, Lions Bombers. Carlton Dogs is screaming Fox footy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
and I know because 7:25 is Channel 7 time. It's not Fox Footy. Fox Footy only do 7:30. They don't do 7:25.
All right. Well, then why are we doing this exercise then? Because
you're the one who's.
All right, fine. Let's move on. Let's move on. Move on. Don't worry about it. No, that's all good. Just shit on my exercise even more, please. No, don't worry about it. Biggest go. I don't even. You host this show now. Actually, can I pull me back? No, I can't. I'm trying to put you in the host spot, but it's obviously not working. So go on then. You do it. Go. Introduce it. No, don't worry about it. That's fine.
You're just an angry little man, as I said.
Oh, don't even.
Temper just rises.
Don't even start with this. All right.
Anyways,
go. That's
biggest football takeaway from the weekend. Tough one from you there. Biggest football.
Well, I did give you hours notice, so you should have been able to think of one. I've got one. Hence the note.
You go first. Give me more.
No. Host, you go first.
Host. Me go first. Okay, biggest football takeaway from the weekend. Essendon are actually decent. That's my biggest takeaway. They're not as bad as I probably. Oh, they've. I just thought the culture just would continue. That no matter what coach you brought in, wouldn't really change much. That losers stay losers, as much, and we know all too well what that's like. But to be fair, there's definitely some tactical implementation that's gone on, and we saw that yesterday. We saw that against Melbourne, and Melbourne aren't in the best of form at the moment, but they still took it up to them, and they beat them convincingly, and they should have won yesterday, quite comfortably. Like, all they needed is a goal in the last quarter. I can't remember who kicked it. It was in my pocket, but hit the post early in the fourth quarter. They would have put the game to bed. No guarantee if Draper had kicked that goal if they would have won. I don't know how much time there was left, but I'm guessing there was like 3 or 4 minutes.
I was 6 minutes or something, 5.
6 minutes. So no guarantee. Collingwood was still riding momentum. But they're impressive the way they've quickly adapted to a new style. But I don't want to jump on too early because we saw last year with Carlton, you have that like early season peak where no one knows what to expect from you and you're riding that high. So if they can maintain it, they've started well where they're banking wins, which usually they do sometimes, but that's my biggest takeaway, that they're actually decent for now.
So, okay, question without notice, or kind of expanding on that point. What's their ceiling this season? Are they finals contention, locks, bottom half of the top half of the bottom 10? What are you looking at? Because I'm still undecided by them. I'm still jury's out.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I would, if you go off trends, this is actually the year they make finals because this is their on year in terms of finals. So
yes, they've gone finals, miss, finals, miss, finals, miss. I think.
Yeah, they've been on and off, but I would say probably bottom of the 8. But this week's a good game against Geelong. I think it will tell us a lot about probably where both teams are at. If Geelong's winning, back to winning life is legit. And if Essendon are, if it was just a period or they're actually going to sustain it. It's a tough run for them anyway. They've got Geelong, then Brisbane and Port, both interstate. So tough run. But I'd say probably 7th or 8th, but I could see it going drastically wrong because that's what tends to happen with them. So
in typical Essendon nature, yeah. Hence why jury's out. I have no faith in them, and I don't think I will. But do you want to introduce me as what I can say now, host?
Yes, Ari. What's your biggest football takeaway from the weekend?
My biggest football. Thank you very much, host. Thank you very much for asking. Draft expert. My biggest takeaway, and it kind of involves the Car Football Club, but it doesn't. My biggest football takeaway: Saints footy is real footy. I'm well and truly on the St Kilda train. I think I'm still a little bit concerned about what happens when Max King comes back, but I trust Ross and I trust the system and I trust everything going on at that club that it will click and it will continue to click. What I saw on the weekend, granted, Carlton were dog shit, right? We were terrible, but St Kilda kind of made us be that because their structure behind the ball, I thought, was absolutely elite. They did obviously something that not a lot of teams did. That not a lot of teams have done, I should say, is they moved Battle onto Curnow and they allowed Wilkie to be free by playing him on Sauce because they knew Sauce would move up the ball. I think that's something that a lot of other teams haven't been able to identify in a way to try and not allow Curnow and Mackay to have a massive impact. Curnow still kicked a couple, but I think their impact was massively mitigated by that tactical move. I think their defensive zone is just super impressive, super impressive. I went to I know it's obviously 2 different teams or technically 3 different teams, right? But I went to Carlton versus Melbourne in 2021. This was when Melbourne were in their kind of. They were obviously won the flag of the year, and this is when they were really playing really good football. I looked at their defensive structure and their defensive zone, and I thought there is no way we're breaking through them. Right? I know we were a rabble as well, but there was no way we were breaking through them. I saw the same kind of defensive structure from from St Kilda on Sunday, and like with Mitch Owens doing what he's doing, and that forward line, which is makeshift, but also it's got Butler and Higgins who are goal kickers. If Max King can come in and slot into that team brilliant and slot into that team perfectly, like I think he should. Even Tim Membry as well. First game back, wasn't at the races, but obviously still proved to be a pretty good player on Sunday. Yeah, they're going to be good. They're going to be good, and I'm not gonna say finals lock yet because obviously a lot can happen. But if everything keeps going the way that it's going, then they're going to make finals comfortably and potentially even top 4. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think they're that good. I really do rate them.
Yeah, Ross has just taken out the old 09 game plan and reused it and added speed to it. Really, and he's got speed in this team and he's used it. So
he's got a lot of run. There's a lot of run as well. So
it's funny to think though, the St Kilda were actually the exact same record as they were last year, right now, and they ended up in 10th.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's different.
It feels different. Yeah, it does really.
Yeah, it feels really different. They feel. It also helps that the competition is very even. Like it helps that this competition is very even, and they're probably up there with Collingwood in terms of the pinnacle of this evenness. Whereas last year, at us, we were performing well. Who else were doing well this time? Sydney was doing well.
Sydney, Brisbane.
Freo, Sydney, yeah. Whereas there's a lot of teams underperforming, so I think that helps their cause. But anyway, let's finish things up. Round 7 preview. Round 7 preview. Let's go through the games. And it's going to be interesting to see because as we covered at the start of the show, you had a blinder. I didn't. So great. That's exactly what needed to happen. I had 4. You had 8. It rounded up to 24 on me, 31 for you. I need a big week, and you know what? I'm not going to tip. I'm going to tip properly this round, and I'm going to say I'm going to get 9. So go. St Kilda, Port Adelaide.
I'll be at this one. Saints comfortably. Port do play better at the Dome than they do the G, but St Kilda comfortably.
St Kilda win that. Brisbane versus Fremantle at the Gabba.
Lions.
Brisbane. Sydney versus GWS at the SAJ.
Swans.
If the Giants had one really good K forward, then I would tip them, but I don't back Jesse Hogan to exploit the lack of McCartan and Rampier, even though I think any of them back, I don't know. But I'll go Sydney. Just though. Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn at Melbourne.
Dogs.
Yeah, Dogs.
This is actually the worst round for you to tip seriously.
Yeah, I know. It's so obvious. Every game is so obvious. Yeah, all right. Melbourne North. Melbourne. Us versus West Coast over there.
West Coast.
What a surprise. Am I shocked? Honestly.
If that gets up, that is just... that would just... I'd actually be happy, frankly. As much as I'd be so angry, I'd just be glad that I've got that tip. That you've shit on me week in, week out for tipping against. It pays off. It does pay off.
I hate you. Can't win. Essendon Geelong. This. We're touching on before Saturday afternoon and etc. Essendon Geelong MCG. This. I know it's a Sunday afternoon, but this is afternoon. Sunny winter's day. 50,000. Like perfect. That's anyway. They're the two. Yes. They're 2 of the top 5 teams I would have for this time slot. Anyway, go.
I'll say Geelong purely off the fact they're coming off a longer break. What is it for Essendon? Only about 5 days. Geelong have got the week. I just think that's
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a great point.
I reckon it'll be close. There's a lot of pressure playing Geelong now, and I think Essendon would have wanted to play the Geelong that Carlton and Collingwood and Gold Coast got in the first 3 weeks. But it's a different ball game now. But
I think they're clicking.
Geelong.
Yep. Cats. Richmond, Gold Coast and Marvel.
Richmond comfortably. And not because Richmond have...
It's an away game. It's a neutral game, but...
Yeah, it is a neutral game somehow, but seriously, Suns just don't even bother. Don't even bother in Melbourne. Just the Gold Coast Crips, as they're called, the ones in the cheer squad, the 14-year-old brigade, they'll turn up for another loss, won't they?
Massive fan, I can tell. And Adelaide, Collingwood,
Yeah, tough. But
very tough.
two teams who love downhill skiing, might I say. I will. Oh, this is actually very tough.
It's just tough.
This is
It's
very
tough
tough.
for two reasons. For two reasons, it's in Adelaide, and that 5-day break compared to Adelaide's. Adelaide played on Sunday,
I can't tell who the pressure is more on in this game. Like,
and
is there more pressure on-
both teams have to travel, but obviously Collingwood have to travel, so that Collingwood basically have 2 days of prep.
Oh,
This is genuine. This is
so-
tough.
this is
This is
tough.
tough.
You know what? If Adelaide is serious, they'll win this. So I'm going to tip Adelaide.
I'm going to agree with you. Actually, I did tip Collingwood last week. I did get up, but I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it really is, and it's going to be interesting to see how the forward line matches up, because Collingwood have to be like, it's probably Adelaide are probably the most dangerous forward line in the comp right now. It'd be up there: Rochelle, Thilthorpe, Walker, Rankin, Fogarty. Like that is dangerous. That is very dangerous. Like, and we all know the one criticism that you could kind of put at Collingwood is obviously the defensive accountability probably isn't as high as what other teams are or have, right? So I'm going to tip Adelaide, but it's going to be game of the game.
Yeah, it should be game of the week.
Yeah, I was going to say game of the year potential, but yeah, go.
Well, if they're going to make finals, they have to win all their home games, right? Because they will not bank enough interstate wins to make finals. So this is one you just have to win it. So well, that's probably where the pressure's more on Adelaide. Collingwood, you lose in Adelaide, and no one really bats an eyelid. I feel like, unless they get pumped.
Well, they've already got that safety blanket of 5-day break, had to travel, etc., etc., etc. We're both going to Crows, which is going to be interesting. But yes, that is all. And I can't wait. I think do we have like the same predictions for like all of them?
Apart from West Coast Carlton.
Yeah, great, nice, unreal. So we're either that's going to be funny. Imagine if this is the week I get 9 and you get 8, I'm going to be so angry.
Oh, it'll be funny.
Oh,
there's a good chance. If West Coast win,
there's a great chance one of us gets. There's a great chance one of us gets 9, one of us gets 8. Great chance. And it's as much as I want to say, it's like a 70-30 chance I get 9, you get 8. You're probably more likely to get 9 if we're honest. Because it just would be the most calm thing, right? Anyway,
one of these games will surprise us. Like, it's just there's always one you just never expect.
Without notice, the most likely upset from this round.
3-0 to beat Brisbane, probably.
I reckon the Bombers to beat the Cats.
Yeah.
No, there you go. We'll just wait for Wednesday. All right, okay. If that result happens, we get an extra point.
Sure, let's throw out random new rules. So, yeah, sure.
Yes, great. More catch up mechanics, mate. Catch up mechanics, mate. Playing 4 days.
Well, I feel like Essendon beating Geelong isn't that much of an upset as you probably like. I make the rules. Brisbane in this 4. All right, yeah. All right, okay.
I make the rules.
All right.
I'm an angry little man who makes the rules, according to you.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
There you go. All right. That's it. That is all. 100, an hour and 8 minutes, and considering we spent 40 minutes speaking about anything not football related, I think that's actually pretty good kind of a length. But yes, thank you all very much for joining us once again. Nathan, thank you very much for hosting this episode. It was an honor to be co-host for you.
A privilege.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for letting me outro as well. I appreciate it. Make sure you tune in next week to Nathan and not me, because I won't be here. Make sure you subscribe to the Bullboard YouTube channel. Like the video. Follow both of us on socials at r_y_stammer on Twitter and at NATHSEPE. That's it. Nate Seppi. There you go. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. See you guys next week. Goodbye.